You hold a trophy in your hand, it shines, it reflects the light. People look at it and they admire you. You place it on the shelf, perhaps in the most visible corner of your home. You feel pride. But slowly the days pass, the dust settles. Visitors stop asking about it. And one day you look at it and realize it is only a piece of metal. Cold, still, silent. The world has moved on. The question is, have you? So many lived their lives chasing these trophies. Not just the golden cups, but the titles, the awards, the applause, the numbers that appear in a bank account or on a social media profile. They run, they strive, they exhaust themselves to hold something that cannot breathe life into them. A trophy does not make you strong, it does not make you wise. It does not protect you in times of hardship. Its power is imagined, given by others, and taken away by time. The moment you realize this, you begin to see the trap. You begin to see that the trophy is not the goal. It is the dust that remains after the fire of effort has burned away. The real prize is the person you become in the pursuit. The discipline you build when no one is watching. The patience you forge when progress feels slow. The courage you find when obstacles rise before you. These are the treasures that cannot be placed on a shelf. They live inside you, and they do not gather dust, they grow with you. But when you chase only the object, you miss the meaning. When your worth is tied to a symbol, you are like a man who mistakes the finger for the moon. You stop growing because you are busy preserving something that is already fading. There is nothing wrong with receiving recognition. Let it come, let it go, but do not let it chain you. The moment you hold it too tightly, you will fear losing it, and that fear will steal your freedom. Look at nature. A flower blooms, but it does not cling to its petals when the season ends. A river flows, but it does not stop to collect its water in a cup. Life moves forward, and so should you. When you free yourself from chasing trophies, you begin to live in the present. You find joy in the training, in the learning, in the silent victories that only you can see. You are no longer a slave to applause. You are the master of your path. One day the trophies will all be gone, but the strength in your body, the clarity in your mind, and the calm in your heart will remain, and that is worth more than any gold. So stop chasing trophies. They collect dust. Chase growth instead. Chase truth. Chase the life that cannot be placed in a glass case, but can be felt in every breath you take. That is the victory that time cannot touch. From the moment we are young, we are taught to aim for the finish line, to run faster than others, to achieve higher marks, to collect medals and certificates as proof that we are worthy. Society whispers into our ears, when you win, you will be happy. When you achieve, you will be complete. And so, we start walking with our eyes fixed on the destination, barely noticing the ground beneath our feet. But here is the truth. The real value is not in the finish line. The real treasure is not in the object you hold at the end. The reward is an illusion of permanence, while the journey is the living reality that shapes you. Think of a mountain. At the summit, the view is breathtaking. But how long can you stand there before you must descend? The summit is a moment, brief, beautiful, and fleeting. The real transformation happens in the climb. Every step that made your legs ache, every moment when you doubted if you could continue, every decision to take one more step despite your exhaustion, that is where you became stronger. A trophy on a shelf does not tell the story of your early mornings and your silent struggles. It does not reveal the discipline you cultivated when no one was watching. It cannot hold the memory of the times you failed and tried again. All of those experiences live in you, not in the object you receive. And those experiences, the lessons, the growth, are the true value of your journey. If you live only for the moment of applause, you will find yourself constantly chasing the next stage, the next recognition, the next spark of validation. But if you learn to see the beauty in the process, you will realize you are already living inside the reward. Every training session, every challenge overcome, every moment of effort given fully, these are victories in themselves. The mind often deceives us into thinking happiness is in the future. It says, when I achieve this, I will feel fulfilled. When I reach that, I will finally rest. But once the achievement is gained, the feeling fades and the mind sets another target. This is why so many achieve great things and still feel empty. They have trained themselves to value the end result more than the path, and so they are never truly satisfied. Imagine a musician who plays only for the applause at the end of the performance. He will rush through the notes, missing their beauty, missing the depths of the music. But the musician who loves the act of playing, who feels each note, who loses himself in the sound, He has already found the reward before the audience even claps. Life is the same. The journey is the music. The destination is only the final note. If you spend your entire time rushing toward the end, you will miss the song. The journey is also the only part you truly control. The outcome can be influenced by many factors: luck, timing, circumstances beyond your reach. But your effort, your commitment, your discipline, these belong entirely to you. And because they belong to you, they are where your focus should remain. This is why many who achieve great things often feel more pride in the struggle than in the success. The marathon runner treasures the months of training more than the medal. The artist remembers the nights spent wrestling with the canvas more than the moment of exhibition. The monk finds peace not in arriving somewhere, but in walking the path with awareness. When you begin to see the value in the journey, something powerful happens. You stop living in constant hunger. You find contentment in the daily steps, not just in the distant milestones. You understand that even if the outcome changes, the worth of your effort remains. And this is freedom. Because then, even when life shifts unexpectedly, even when the goal you were aiming for disappears, you are not left with nothing. You are left with the strength, the skill, the patience, and the wisdom that the journey gave you. No one can take those from you. We live in a world that celebrates the result more than the process, but the process is the true teacher. The process is where you learn who you are, what you can endure, and how deeply you can commit. If you can shift your focus from chasing the moment of victory to living fully in the act of becoming, you will find that you have already won again and again, long before the trophy is in your hands. The destination is a single point in time. The journey is your entire life. Learn to love the path beneath your feet, and you will never feel like you are chasing something that keeps running away. So walk with presence, climb with patience, strive with joy, and remember, the reward is not the thing you hold at the end. The reward is the person you become along the way. External validation is like the wind. It can lift you high, but it can also vanish without warning. We are born into a world that measures our worth by the reactions of others, their applause, their praise, their approval. From a young age, we learn to seek that nod of recognition, the compliment, the approval stamp that tells us we are good enough. And for a moment it feels powerful. It feels like proof that we matter. But like all things external, it fades. The clapping stops. The voices move on. What you thought was a mountain turns out to be a cloud, and you cannot stand on a cloud for long. External validation is temporary because it depends on forces outside your control. The mood of the people around you changes. Trends shift. The same action that earns you applause today may be ignored tomorrow. When your sense of worth is tied to those shifting conditions, you will find yourself constantly chasing, constantly adjusting, constantly worrying about whether you are still enough in the eyes of others. This is not freedom, this is dependency. True fulfillment is different. It is not borrowed from others, it is grown from within. When you act from a place of inner alignment, when your choices reflect your deepest values, you no longer need the world to clap for you to feel at peace. The quiet satisfaction of knowing you stayed true to yourself is more powerful than any cheer from the crowd. Think of a candle in the wind. A candle that relies on the wind to burn will flicker and die the moment the air changes. But a candle that burns from its own steady flame continues to give light, no matter how calm or stormy the world becomes. Your inner fulfillment is that steady flame. It is built through self-awareness, self-respect, and the discipline of living according to your principles, even when no one is watching. Many people spend their lives moving from one external measure to the next. First, it is grades, then career titles, then wealth, then social approval. They think that the next achievement will finally fill the emptiness. But the emptiness is not because they lack achievement. It is because they have not yet learned to find worth in simply being, in living authentically, in walking their path without needing a witness. When you find inner fulfillment, recognition becomes a pleasant visitor, not a landlord. It may come and it may go, but it does not own you. You can appreciate it without depending on it. You can thank those who notice your work without feeling lost when they do not. This is a form of quiet strength, a resilience that no external opinion can shake. Imagine training for a skill in solitude. No one is there to praise your effort. No one is there to record your progress. Day after day, you practice. You stumble. You improve. You refine. There is no applause, no spotlight. Yet you keep going because the act itself is the reward. The mastery you are building, the peace you feel in the rhythm of the practice, that is fulfillment that no one can take from you. External validation will always tempt you. It is designed to feel good. Our minds are wired to respond to approval with pleasure, but pleasure is not the same as purpose. If you live only for the pleasure of being recognized, you will neglect the deeper work of finding your own meaning. Purpose is what sustains you when the pleasure fades. There will be times when your efforts are ignored, times when your work is misunderstood, times when the people you hoped would cheer for you remain silent. If your self-worth is built on their voices, you will stop walking when they stop clapping. But if your worth is built on the knowledge that your work is right, necessary, and aligned with who you are, then you will keep going, whether the road is lined with supporters or completely empty. When you seek fulfillment from within, you give yourself a gift that outlasts all applause. You no longer fear being forgotten because you are not doing it to be remembered. You are doing it because it is your path, and in walking it, you have already succeeded. Let the world see your work if it will. Let them recognize it if they choose. But never give them the keys to your peace. Build that peace within you and carry it like a steady flame. The wind may rise and fall, but your light will remain. And in the end, it is not the volume of the applause that matters, but the depth of the contentment you carry in your own heart. Attachment is the silent weight that keeps many from living freely. At first, we believe it is harmless. After all, what is wrong with holding on to something we've worked hard to achieve? But the more tightly we grip an achievement, the more we begin to fear losing it. That fear slowly takes over our mind, turning the once joyful victory into a source of anxiety. What was once a symbol of our growth becomes a cage. When you cling to a trophy, a title, or a symbol of success, you stop moving forward. Your energy is no longer focused on becoming better, but on protecting what you already have. The mind begins to live in the past, in the moment when that recognition was fresh. But life is movement, and when we try to preserve the past, we resist the natural flow. The more we resist, the more restless and insecure we become. Attachment is dangerous because it blinds us to the truth that nothing lasts. The applause fades, the shine of the medal dulls, the market shifts. The status you once held can be replaced, forgotten, or handed to someone else. If your identity is tied to that symbol, then when it is gone, you feel as if you are gone too. Consider a river. Its strength is in its flow. The water never clings to where it was yesterday, it moves on. If a river tried to hold on to its water, it would become stagnant, lose its life, and eventually dry up. We are meant to flow in the same way, taking lessons and experiences with us, but not trying to freeze them in place. Some believe that holding on to their achievements is a way to honor them, but the truth is, the greatest honor you can give to an achievement is to let it inspire you to grow further. A trophy should be a reminder of the journey you took, not a final resting place. If you treat it as the end, you stop evolving. The mind has a subtle way of convincing us that without our symbols, we are nothing. It whispers, this title is who you are. This medal defines you. Without it, no one will respect you. But this is an illusion. Your value was never in the object. It was in the discipline, the resilience, the learning, and the transformation that brought you there. All of that remains, even when the symbol is gone. Letting go of attachment does not mean you cannot appreciate your achievements. It means you see them clearly for what they are. Moments in time, markers of growth, but not the source of your worth. This clarity frees you from fear. You can take risks, explore new directions, and step into challenges without being weighed down by the need to protect your old image. When you release attachment, you also release suffering. Much of human pain comes from wanting things to stay the same in a world that is always changing. You cannot stop the seasons from turning, and you cannot stop life from moving forward. If you try, you will exhaust yourself fighting an unwinnable battle. But when you accept change, you can walk with it instead of against it. There is a deep peace in knowing that you are not defined by what you hold. Even if every symbol of your success was taken away tomorrow, the essence of who you are, your skills, your wisdom, your courage would still remain. And from that place, you can build again and again without fear of starting over. Think of the great masters in any field. The ones who remain relevant and alive in their craft are not the ones who live off their past glory, but the ones who remain students. They do not cling to old victories because they know the real joy is in creating something new. The moment they become attached, they stop being alive in their work. When you are no longer attached to your achievements, you can move through life with a lightness. You are no longer burdened by the need to protect an image or possession. You are free to explore, to fail, to try again, to reinvent yourself. This is how growth continues endlessly. The symbol of success should be like a footprint in the sand. Proof that you walked this path, but not something you try to carry with you forever. Footprints are meant to be left behind as you keep moving forward. Attachment transforms joy into fear, but letting go transforms fear into freedom. And in that freedom, you find something greater than the trophy itself. You find the ability to live fully in this moment, unburdened by the weight of yesterday's victories. The world often measures wealth in what can be seen: gold, possessions, titles, and the visible signs of status. But the truest wealth is not something you can display in a glass case or deposit into a bank. It is not vulnerable to theft or loss. Life's real wealth is what you carry within you: the skills you've cultivated, the wisdom you've earned through experience, and the strength of your character. These are treasures that no market crash, no thief, no sudden change in fortune can take away. Material prizes are temporary by their very nature. They exist in a world that changes constantly. A trophy can be misplaced, a house can be destroyed, a fortune can disappear in a single moment of bad luck or shifting circumstances. If your sense of richness depends solely on these external forms, you live in constant fear that they might vanish, and fear is a heavy chain to carry. Skills, on the other hand, are living wealth. A person who has learned discipline, patience, and focus can rebuild even after loss. A person who has trained their mind to stay calm under pressure can find clarity in chaos. These inner qualities allow you to adapt, to create again, to navigate life's storms without being destroyed by them. They are like tools you keep in an unshakable toolbox, ready for use in any season. Wisdom is another form of inner wealth. It comes not from reading words alone, but from living them through failures, challenges, and the moments when life forces you to grow beyond your comfort. Wisdom teaches you how to prioritize what truly matters, how to let go of what does not, and how to see the world with a deeper understanding. While material possessions can be given or taken in an instant, wisdom cannot be handed over. It must be earned, and once earned, it becomes part of who you are. And then there is character, the invisible backbone of a life well lived. Character is forged in the moments when no one is watching, when the easy choice would be to compromise your principles, but you choose the harder, honest path instead. It is built every time you keep your word, honor your commitments, and act with kindness, even when it costs you something. This is wealth that does not fade with age, but grows stronger the more it is used. Imagine two people who lose everything they own. One has relied only on possessions for their sense of worth. When those possessions disappear, they are left feeling empty, powerless, and afraid. The other has spent their life building skills, understanding, and integrity. Even in the face of loss, they can stand, think, and rebuild. The difference between the two is where they invested their wealth. This is why the greatest masters and teachers throughout history have always emphasized inner cultivation over outer accumulation. They understood that the world can strip away the surface, but it can never take the foundation you have built within yourself. They knew that when life tests you, and it will, it is not your possessions that will save you, but your ability to think clearly, adapt quickly, and act wisely. Material rewards can still have their place. There is nothing wrong with enjoying the fruits of your labor, but they should never be the only measure of your success. Without the inner wealth to guide you, outer wealth can easily become a trap, distracting you, making you dependent, and leaving you vulnerable to loss. Inner wealth, however, only multiplies with use. The more you practice your skills, the sharper they become. The more you apply wisdom, the deeper it grows. The more you act with integrity, the stronger your character becomes. This compounding growth is the kind of richness that no economic system can measure, yet it is the most reliable and valuable asset you will ever own. If you invest your time in becoming skilled, wise, and strong in spirit, you will never truly be poor, no matter what happens around you. You may face hardship, you may experience loss, but you will always have the tools to rise again. This is the ultimate security, and it is one that no external factor can take from you. So when you work not only for the paycheck, but for the skills you are gaining. When you face challenges, do not only look for the way out, but also for the lessons they are teaching you. When you succeed, let it not be measured only in numbers or trophies, but in the growth of your character and the depths of your understanding. Life's real wealth is not in what you hold in your hands, but in what you carry in your mind, your heart, and your spirit. These treasures are invisible to the eye but invaluable to the soul. They will serve you when all else fails, guide you when the path is unclear, and give you peace even in the midst of uncertainty. This is the kind of wealth worth chasing because it is the only kind that will stay with you until your last breath. A trophy is a frozen moment, a memory captured in metal or glass. It is the evidence of something you once did, a milestone you once reached. But life is not meant to be frozen. It is a river, a constant flow of change, growth, and movement. The danger of holding onto a trophy as the center of your identity is that it anchors you to the past. You begin to live in yesterday's achievements rather than today's possibilities. When you keep your eyes fixed on what you have already done, you unintentionally close the door to what you might still become. The mind whispers, "I have arrived," and in that quiet satisfaction, growth slows. The truth is, there is no final arrival. Every victory is simply a step in a much longer journey. The moment you believe you have reached the peak, you stop climbing, and the mountain of life begins to pass you by. Preservation is not the same as evolution. A preserved flower is still a flower, but it no longer grows, no longer blooms, no longer breathes. In the same way, a person who clings to a past success may still hold the image of achievement, but the living essence of that achievement is gone. Life's beauty is in its movement, in its ability to constantly transform you into something deeper, wiser, and stronger than before. This is why space is so important. Space for new lessons, new challenges, new transformations. If your hands are full of yesterday's trophies, how will you have room to receive today's opportunities? If your heart is still holding tightly to the applause of the past, how will you hear the quiet guidance of the present moment? Leaving space for evolution requires humility. It means accepting that no matter what you have achieved, there is still more to learn, still more to explore, still more to become. It means being willing to release the pride of past victories in order to step into the unknown once again. This is not a loss, it is the way life renews itself. When you live with this openness, you begin to see that every day is a chance to grow beyond what you were yesterday. Your greatest achievement is not the one that collects dust on a shelf. It is the version of yourself you are shaping right now. And tomorrow, you will have the chance to shape yourself again. This is why the wise never stop learning, they never stop moving. They understand that the essence of life is not to reach a point where you no longer need to change, but to live in such a way that change is welcomed, embraced, and celebrated. It is also why the most fulfilled people are those who see their lives as a continuous unfolding, not a single highlight. They do not become trapped in defending an old image of themselves. They are free to evolve because they are not trying to keep themselves locked in a single chapter of their story. A trophy is a symbol, and symbols have their place. They can remind you of what you are capable of. They can inspire others to walk their own path, but they are not meant to be lived inside. You are more than any symbol. You are a living, breathing, changing being. You are the river, not the cup of water taken from it. So release the weight of preservation. Make room for new growth. Let each achievement be a stepping stone, not a cage. And know that life will always give you more to learn, more to experience, and more ways to deepen your understanding if only you keep moving forward. In the end, it will not matter how many trophies you held or how many titles you collected. What will matter is how fully you lived, how deeply you grew, and how generously you shared the wisdom you gained along the way. May you never be trapped by yesterday's victories. May you walk lightly into the future, unburdened by the need to preserve an image and open to becoming more than you ever imagined. And may each day find you growing in skill, wisdom, and compassion. I leave you with a simple prayer. May your heart remain humble. May your mind remain open. May your spirit remain free. And may you walk your path with courage and grace. Always moving, always learning, always becoming.